Hey there! For any of you stepping into a leadership role, we're going to talk about something that might feel, well, a little backwards. We're going to talk about how your real power, your real influence, isn't always about what you say. Sometimes it's about what you don't say. This is all about guarding your energy through strategic silence. And trust me, it can be a modern-day superpower. So, let me just ask you straight up. In this world that's all about total transparency and sharing every single thought, do you ever feel that pressure? For young leaders, it's this constant pull. But what if holding back a little was actually the real key to getting ahead? And look, this isn't some new idea I just came up with. We're talking about wisdom from the ancient Stoics, thousands of years old. They understood that just broadcasting everything you're thinking and feeling doesn't make you stronger. No, it actually does the opposite. It weakens your influence and, more importantly, it drains your most valuable asset, your energy. And that brings us to this really cool paradox, right? We're taught to think that power is the loudest voice in the room, the person who always gets the last word. But what if real, lasting power is found in the quiet, in speaking less? This right here, this is the heart of it. The Stoics believed that real strength wasn't about projecting outward, but about controlling what's inside. Having that self-control, that ability to just sit with a thought without immediately needing to share it. That's a leadership skill right there. It means you are the master of your own mind. So here's the big principle. Guard your energy. Think of it like your phone battery. Every time you speak, especially about things that are deeply personal, you're using up a bit of that battery. The trick is learning to be strategic about where you spend that precious energy. And let's be super clear. When I see strategic silence, I'm not talking about being sneaky or dishonest. Not at all. This is a deliberate choice you make from a place of strength and confidence. It's about protecting your own inner peace so that when it's time to act, you're ready, you're focused, and you have influence. I love this way of thinking about it. Picture your private thoughts, your big plans, your true feelings. They're like an inner fortress. And you're the one guarding the gates. You get to decide who comes in and what goes out. A leader whose gates are wide open is vulnerable, but a leader who guards those gates carefully, that's someone who's in command. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? Let's make this practical. We're going to break it down into 3 key areas, 3 secrets of influence that you need to learn how to protect. So here they are, the big 3. Your deepest fears, your true ambitions, and your personal failures. These are intensely personal things, and how you manage sharing them is pretty much a masterclass in leadership. So let's tackle them one by one. First up, your fears. Now look, being vulnerable with a mentor or a coach, that's one thing. But broadcasting your deepest anxieties to your entire team or your rivals, that can be a huge strategic mistake. It doesn't build trust. It often just creates doubt and instability. Just look at the difference here. On the one hand, sharing your fears can feel good for a second. But what you're really doing is handing people a roadmap to your weaknesses. It projects insecurity. On the other hand, guarding them isn't about pretending they don't exist. It's about dealing with them on your terms, so you can stand in front of your team with genuine strength and calm. All right, pillar number 2, your true ambitions. You've got that huge, game-changing goal in your head, and your first instinct is probably to shout it from the rooftops, right? Get everyone hyped up. But again, the Stoics would say, hold on a second. Think about it like this. When you announced your grand plans to the world, you invite 2 things you don't need, judgment and jealousy. You put all this pressure on yourself. But when you guard your ambitions, you protect them. You let them grow in a safe space, away from all that negativity. You get to work quietly, and then, when the time is right, you reveal the results, not just the plan. It's the difference between talking about building a castle and actually showing up with the keys. And that brings us to our 3rd and final pillar, your personal failures. Now, of course, leaders have to own their mistakes. That's non-negotiable. But there's a world of difference between sharing the lesson you learn from a failure and letting the failure itself become your public identity. This is all about controlling the narrative. If you overshare every little detail of your failures, you give others the power to define you by them, to question if you're really confident. But when you guard the failure, you process the lesson privately. You absorb the wisdom, and then you come back stronger, with your authority intact. It's about owning the lesson, not the label. Okay, we've talked about the why and the what. But none of this matters if we don't get to the how. Now is the time to take this ancient wisdom and actually put it to work in your life as a leader, starting today. So let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, your energy is everything. Protect it fiercely. 2, silence isn't weakness, it's a power move. And remember the 3 pillars. Protect your fears to stay strong inside. Protect your ambitions so they have a chance to actually happen. And protect your failures to preserve your authority. This isn't about hiding, it's about building an unshakable foundation for leadership. So I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. After hearing all this, what is the one thing you realize you've been giving away too freely? What's the one piece of information you will choose to start guarding, starting right now, to strengthen your leadership? The answer to that? Well, that's where your work begins.